Okay, number 15. This week we're speaking about heartificial versus artificial. Speaking a lot about artificial intelligence and how it keeps you externalized. It stops you from thinking internal, getting the answers internal. It stops you making that bridge between, the different types of consciousness. We speak about God's consciousness and, your higher self. We think that AI blocks that from happening because it sort of keeps you at a lower sort of level of consciousness because you're not proactively thinking. You're reacting to what it's saying compared to proactively going internal to get answers for yourself. So where's a good place to start, do you think?
So exactly what you just said, bro. The first main difference between artificial intelligence and heartificial intelligence is artificial intelligence is a centralized system. So people or a database or a company or whoever the fuck it is, Elon Musk, whatever, I'm not getting into politics too much, they own that actual storage of database. That makes sense. And then they can program what it spits out to you, basically. But when you go internal and you go into God consciousness and you go into yourself with a capital S or even higher, SELF, all capitals. Again, this is Paul Check, differentiations between lowercase self, capital S self, and then in block letter self, you have different stages of consciousness. Once you start tapping into the innate knowledge within your own body, then you can basically not be controlled by anybody because it's a decentralized system. God, nature, all this stuff is decentralized. Nobody owns God consciousness.
There's no bias.
There's no bias, exactly.
Or opinions. It's just
it spits the straight fact. If you're not doing what you're meant to be doing in your life, then life kicks you up the ass and tells you what you need to do. And AI can't always tell you exactly what you need to do. Do you know what I mean? It can tell you what the computer says that you need to do, or the internet says that you need to do this, or etc. etc. But we have hundreds of thousands of years of innate knowledge within our bodies, within our minds, and we need to be able to tap into that first before we delve into this AI world and let AI do everything for you. Do you know what I mean? And listen, I'm not saying that AI it's all bad. It's a good tool to use to speed things up. But yeah, it shouldn't be thinking for you. And I feel like that's the dangers of it that we want to make everybody aware of in this podcast. Basically, is like, don't let that shit think for you. Do you know what I mean? Don't let that dictate what you should and shouldn't do in your life, or make it something that you rely on for your personal needs. Do you know what I mean? Because God has all your personal needs covered for you. God consciousness, nature, these decentralized systems that basically we need to start using a lot more of, and worry less about this AI shit, you know what I mean? Which is taking over nowadays, but fuck, it is what it is.
yeah, because like you said, it comes from a database. Someone owns the database, so they have the power to put their interpretation or bias onto it. It's like a newspaper. You've got like the Daily Mail or the Daily Star or the Telegraph. Each has a different bias. Easy one to use just off the top of my head is a political bias. Different newspapers have different political biases. It's the same with these AI platforms. Different people own them, so they can input their bias into it. So although you think, oh, it's just AI, it's just a machine brain, it's not. The machine brain is owned by someone who can change the tone of the sentences that it gives to you, or the information that it gives to you. Because you can Google two different things, change a word or two, and it gives you different answers. So AI is just that on a bigger scale, isn't it?
Exactly right. We've just had, say, New Year's, quote unquote. You know what I mean?
3rd of January
It's
as
the
a film in
third,
this,
yeah, exactly.
but it's not New Year, is it?
Well, if you go into AI, then it will tell you that it is. Do you know what I mean? But if you change the wording, and then it'll tell you that it's not as well. So you can kind of catch AI out on its own bullshit half of the time. Do you know what I mean? Just by, like you said, changing the way that you word things. I feel like AI is good if you are building your own fucking AI. Do you know what I mean? And it's gonna have a specific purpose for specific needs, and it's not going to be as centralized by some big massive corporation that can have, like you said, political biases or different kind of biases to lead you astray from the truth. You know, at the end of the day, it's very much, it's a lot harder to get to the truth, because you got to go through yourself, and you got to go through your higher self, and you got to go through God consciousness to really feel the messages that you are being given, you know, by the universe. But again, I don't want us as a younger generation to start losing that ability, that innate ability that even animals have. You know, if a horse, I'm looking at horses right now running across the field. If a horse is
Switch the back camera to see that there
yeah,
in the distance.
yeah. If a horse is not well, it knows what to eat, what plants to eat innately. It's not like a
What area to sit.
what
Where,
exactly
you know, energy spot's good.
Exactly. It knows all these things just innately within its biology, you know. And us as a human civilization, we can kind of start losing our innate ability to understand all of these things when we start relying too much on AI. You know what I mean? So it's just something for us to be aware of.
'Cause we've got the left brain, don't we? Animals don't. They're just intuitive. They know just by default what to do, whereas our logic can skew that perception. Like I said about the horses, if it's to lie down in a spot, whenever my dog gets sick, it lies in the same place in the garden every time, like the most random place in the garden. I'm like, why? I used to think, why does it lie there? But that's why it intuitively knows what spot on the earth is more healing. You know, where the energy lines cross under the earth, what is the best place to heal, sort of thing.
And this is ancient technology that we're starting to lose. This is why I'm a biogeometry practitioner, and all these old ancient knowledges, we need to keep them revived and not let these kind of computerized, simplified, reductionist, left brain scientific versions of things
Statistical, numerical.
take over. Yeah, exactly. You know, a lot of people get pissed off when we say certain things because it doesn't agree with the modern day scientific way that you learn things, you know. But at the end of the day, all we're doing is trying to encourage you guys to ask your soul the right answers. Don't Google it all the time. Do you know what I mean? Sit with whatever knowledge that you get from whatever resource or sources that you get it from, and sit with it and think, is this true? And ask your own soul that, you know, and actually meditate on these questions, and you'll figure out what's right and what's wrong for you specifically, because what's right for you might be wrong for another person, etc., etc. Everybody is individual, you know. So that's the whole purpose of this specific episode, is just to make it more heartificial, let it come from the heart, because your heart has intelligence, your mind has intelligence, different organs in your bodies have different intelligence. You know, we need to tap into all these kind of conscious beings that are innately within our nature, instead of always looking external for answers.
Yeah. I was going to say, one thing that shocked me was recently I sort of realised, just speaking to people, a lot of people actually use ChatGPT as their therapist. They actually tell it the whole life. Like I've seen people's chats with it, you know, talking about what's going wrong in life, you know, speaking to it, and I'm like, at least they're being like proactive enough to try and do something about it, but it's like right idea, wrong execution.
What I'm afraid of is that we are going to start relying on ChatGPT to be our therapist and this, that, the other, And we're not going to go speak to the homies, speak to the bros, speak to your girlfriends, boyfriends, and mothers and fathers and cousins. And the human interaction is getting less and less and less, while the AI interaction is getting higher and higher. Do you know what I mean? So people are, again, we mentioned this before, people are on the phone and they're, say, watching somebody's video, and your brain can't tell the difference. It feels like it's getting a human connection from the phone, but it's not. You know what I mean? That person's not speaking to you, and you're not having a conversation about things. You know,
It's raising your dopamine in
yeah,
an artificial way.
exactly. And
You know, I was gonna say, we're meant to get dopamine by, we're sat here talking, full spectrum sunlight, actual in-person interaction, not through an artificial device. Because even though like your brain sort of thinks you're having a conversation with it, you're physically not talking back to the screen, are you? You're just purely absorbing everything. There's no you're receiving a lot, but you're not giving anything back. It's just like a one-way street.
and also half the time, say if you to use your example about using, say, ChatGPT as your therapist, cool, that's fine. But you can be your own best therapist by meditating on the questions or problems that you do have. You know what I mean? And when you tap into the different frequencies of vibration, you're going to start getting totally different ideas, answers, and ways of solving things that are uniquely your own. That they're your answers. They're not AI's answers. They're very specific to you, given to you by the universe. So don't lose them gems by.
That authenticity.
Yeah, exactly. We're all trying to. Again, we look at this in today's society. Everybody's trying to look the same. Everyone's trying to dress the same. Everyone's trying to act the same. It's all becoming uniform. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Where's our individuality gone? Because we're not individual first principle thinkers anymore. We're letting machines and other things think for us. So then your ability to think critically for yourself is getting diminished. You know what I mean? Isn't it?
Is this a good point to move on to religion?
Yeah,
do you think?
for sure. I was just about to say that.
Talking about this in the car. So when we say about religion, comparing it to AI, we're approaching it more from the angle of religious texts are written in a way that keep you looking for God externally. You sit and pray to something external rather than going internal to get the solutions. Or say you're praying for better health, you should be going internal, figuring out what you need to do yourself rather than relying on something else to do it for you.
Again, it goes back to being a centralized system, which religions are. They're controlled by, say, the Vatican or whatever kind of religious governing body, let's call it. Do you know what I mean? That make the rules of the religion, are compared to spirituality, which is very uniquely your own. It's your own individuality and your own relationship with God. And that's what all religions are basically based on. And then they become centralized systems. They become a real legion. It's like join our legion of command and be a good soldier for our religion type shit. You know what I mean? Instead of being an uncontrollable one-man army, who can fight against anything, anyone, because they have God on their side, because they have God inside. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Like with all these religious books, why is there no name for an author? Why does it not say written by so-and-so? There's a reason for that.
Certain religions do, but yeah, no, I agree.
Which one?
Sikhism,
Is that the only one?
Yeah, but again, Sikhism not classed as a religion. No. Yeah.
Is that part of the reason, do you think? Or?
Yeah, exactly why. Why it's the reason.
Religious texts don't have an author.
Yeah, religious texts don't. Yeah, facts.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah. So, but there is.
It's gone through a filtration of bias. It wasn't written in one take. It was written by kings or people of a certain government. Get filtered. It gets should this be written this way? Should we change the words? Should we change the names or the meanings? Whatever. And it's years and years, hundreds of years worth of writing filtered into the product that we have today. It's been translated, retranslated how many times. Certain things get lost or changed along the way depending on the biases. So in and of itself, a religious book is just a watered down version of what AI is now, isn't it really?
Basically, yeah.
There's still a bias behind it. There's it's like, yeah, it's been written in a way to, I'll use an example, like we said nature and God, whatever, is internal. It doesn't have a bias to it. If you were to put a fork into a plug socket, whether you were a good person or an evil person, you're still going to get an electric shock. It's completely unbiased. Nature is the same way. Whereas these AIs, these books that have been given to us, have a bias behind them. So automatically, by default, it's not going to give you the full answer. It's going to make you go external to solve your problems rather than going internal. It's going to make you go external to find God, whereas compared to going internal to find God that's already within you. There's so many Bible quotes about how God is within you. Different words in the Bible, different named places in Israel, like Golgotha, place of the skull. They're giving you the hints. Everything, God is within you. You just need to, like I said, go internal, stop going external to find these answers.
For sure. And that is exactly what we need to do with our intelligence as well. Not go so artificial intelligence, AI external, start going more artificial internal. That's why we named the podcast that, So well put, bro. Exactly. A lot of these religions give you the answers when you look deep enough into them. But when you go to church or whatever, or these preachers and whatever else, then they don't want you to become a decentralized savage who can do everything by themselves. They want you to stay reliant on them, so that you can keep giving them donations or even just energy. You know what I mean? It's the same with AI. We're all giving our energy to this entity. This Aramanic entity, which again it's probably a different podcast, but we need to start to think about, right, if ChatGPT knows the whole of my life and all of my problems and all this, then so does the centralized database that fucking owns it. You know what I'm saying? And then I wonder what they're doing with all of that information from millions of people.
And then I wonder what adverts they're gonna start showing you on your phone.
Exactly. And different types of manipulation tactics that they're going to use to try to control the future by, we know everybody's pain points and everybody's issues and everybody's this, that, the other. So let's try to manipulate things so that we can continue with our greedy, capitalistic, materialistic society and keep draining the 99% and keep it all for ourselves type shit. You know what I mean? So we need to all start becoming more savages, like Jack Rue says, and start becoming a critical thinker and start solving problems by yourself, for yourself, and then taking shit from there. You know what I mean?
What do you reckon we speak on next?
Let's keep it short.
So there's one more thing we want to talk about.
It's not jumping right out of me right now, so maybe it's not that important. But yeah, I think we made the main points that we wanted to make in this podcast, and that is go internal, not external. I'll give you a few resources for you to look into yourself. Maybe that can be our last kind of talking point. These yogis and these people from thousands of years ago have a way higher understanding of how this universe works, how this game of life works. how to actually tap into this quantum biology and quantum physics and change everything, change the structure of reality just with this, you know. Listen, there's places and people in India that have been doing this for thousands of years. You know, there's whole fucking temples that have been carved out of mountains and shit like that, using the power of the mind and intentions and light and sound and different technology like that. There's so much that I can start going a lot deeper and probably make this into a fucking another hour long podcast, but I'm not going to right now. But a little book for you to start off with, for you to start understanding these type of things, is The Autobiography of a Yogi. That's a great book for you to start to understand. Wow, these people from even like 100 years ago, 200 years ago, before internet and AI and everything has dumbed us down, were a lot more intelligent and a lot more powerful than we are now. What's happening with AI is, again, it's designed this way to make you dumber, to make you reliant on shit, so you don't understand your innate power that you have, because we all have
We're all a sovereign sort of entity, aren't we?
exactly, we all have God consciousness running through us, meaning that we're all a creator, just like God is the creator of everything. He gave us that ability to be able to do that for ourselves as well, to do that for our reality, you know.
You
So
can we could turn a tree stump into, I don't know, a chair, couldn't we, if we wanted to?
100% with
Even a
this,
more basic level, we can have kids, we can create life. In and of itself, is that not sort of the definition of
that
God?
is the miracle, you know.
It's a miracle in itself, isn't
Yeah,
it?
exactly. That is a miracle in and of itself,
And
100%.
like, we've used this analogy countless times now, but you're not the drop of the ocean, you're the ocean in a drop. You've got the powers, you know, to create as well.
We have the whole universe inside of us. Again, we probably have to do a separate podcast on astrology and all. We have all the planets, we have everything inside of us, so let's start tapping into that shit. Like I said, Autobiography of a Yogi, that's a good place to start. And you start thinking, wow, these people, they make all the people who are fucking graduating from uni and all this shit now seem dumb as fuck. You're spending thousands and thousands of pounds learning some centralized system on how to fucking do whatever the fuck you're studying, but shit, you don't even need any of it, really. You know what I mean? We can perform miracles. We all do perform miracles daily, you know, but we don't realize it half of the time. We need to be very consciously aware of, again, EMF and all these other things that are kind of bombarding our attention span and stopping us from going internal, stopping us from being as still as we can be. Because if you're that ocean in a drop, if your ocean is fucking a tsunami, waves all over the gaff, and you can't think clearly, then
Manifest.
it's going to manifest that way.
Yeah.
Your life's going to be in turmoil. Do you know what I mean? If you can calm the oceans of your life, then when the water gets still, it gets more see-through, and then you can see through the bullshit more. You can see through the centralized system more, and you can actually start to become that clear channel to receive the information from God that you need to change your life or to do all the other things that you need to do. Whatever you want to do, it's all there for you, you know. So,
Like we said, it's built in you already, innately. So it's on you to find it. We've spoke about this before. Having a good mental diet, not getting distracted, not feeding into the advertisements or, you know, the quick, cheap dopamine that you get in society. Find it within you. That's a journey in itself, but if you've been up to date with the episodes, then you'll know the score by now.
Exactly right. So
Should we finish there?
that's enough free game for today, team.
Yeah.
That's enough for you to go into look into for yourself. And yeah, any questions and all that shit, you know what the score is by now. Hit us up on the email.
askheartificial@gmail.com.
All of that.
That'll do us for today. We'll see you next week.
Stay dangerous. Fuck peace. Stay dangerous today.